must follow the law. The law says...
Glorious. Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law, folks, with attorney Larry Forman. Today we are going to be doing something special. You all have asked me to do this. I did not want to do the full interview of Proctor. I am definitely going to do the full interview of the McAlberts. Today I'm going to be reacting to two interviews. I'm going to react to the interview with Michael Proctor, and the same guy interviewed Brian and Caitlin Albert and Jennifer and Matthew McCabe in another video. So we're gonna be taking a look at both of those today in today's video. Shout out to The Glarer and Carrie True Crime for this compilation so that we don't have to sit here and listen to Proctor talk for 2 hours.
Proctor tells me
You're a fucking liar.
Brother Chris and wife Julie, who'd been at the Waterfall Bar. But you knew Julie and Chris Albert.
Yes, through a distant relationship with my sister.
Did you know Jen McCabe?
No.
And McCabe?
Absolutely not.
Distant relationship, so he's trying to like distance himself as much as possible. Kinda, sorta, I know her, I know of her existence, I know who she is, I have heard her name. Bullschlacha. You know way more than that, and you know it, and you're just trying to distance yourself to make yourself look better. Proctor, the ship has sailed, the train has left the station, it's too late.
And I'm laughing because it's such a ridiculous accusation. It's something I would never do. I've never done.
You know, most people would...
And there's no evidence of it.
We're
Whoa,
talking
whoa,
about-
whoa, 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 whoa. Right there is the dead giveaway. It's something I would never do. It's something I have never done. Should be the end of that statement. Plus, there's no evidence of it. That is the dead giveaway that he knows that he did it, in my humble opinion. Someone who's innocent says, I would have never done that, ever. Never, never. And period, the end. He added on, and there's no evidence of it. You can't pin it on me. I don't know about it, Proctor. That your words, me thinketh thou doth protest too much.
People in your community, your neighbors, who believe it. This is not strangers. This is people in Canton. Why do you think that is?
That's just the loud minority. The silent majority we've had an overwhelming amount of support. They're just not out there tweeting.
So you have an overwhelming amount of support, they're just not out there tweeting. If that was the case, Amber Heard, former disgraced trooper Michael Proctor, the mountain of evidence for Amber Heard is now the mountain of supporters we just don't get to see from the McAlberts? Really? Are you sure about that? Because we already have at least 2 paid witnesses. Catherine Peters and Mama Llama are both confirmed. They have paid ads on Twitter, and there's an affidavit admitting that one of them got paid. So I don't know about it, buddy. The fact that you have to pay your supporters to support you says a lot.
Early on, Alan Jackson told me that he could not understand why it was that every time that you went back to the scene, new evidence would materialize. He found that very suspicious.
Maybe you didn't read the weather report I provided in my reports.
Which indicated?
Over the next week to 2 weeks, temperatures range from 30 to 60 degrees with heavy rain. Snow melts at a rapid pace, and the more snow that melted, the more evidence unearthed itself.
2 superiors.
Really? Wait a minute. More evidence unearthed itself. But how did the taillight pieces end up like on top of boot prints? That's what I want to know. There is at least one image out there that I personally have seen, and I'm sure you have too, of taillight pieces on top of a boot print. How does that happen if it's been unmoved? Like, how stupid are you, Proctor? And okay, maybe, let's say he is innocent. He didn't do it. It was Berkowitz and Higgins. Who cares? Nail the mother...
We first got into her phone. The number one thing I wanted to
he's a
review
giant
was
small
location
penis.
data,
That's amazing.
text messages. And when we got into the phone, I texted the guys at work, our work chain, that joke. No nude so far, guys.
That joke? That joke? I was just joking. No revealing pictures of the defendant discovered so far, gentlemen. I'm going to keep looking. That's a joke. Do you understand the kind of human being that is to do something like that? That's disgusting.
Can you see how the impropriety of the text messages opens the door for the defense's allegations that there was some sort of conspiracy and cover-up here?
There's no evidence because it didn't happen. I spent 2 days on the stand. That was Alan Jackson's opportunity to bring that up and question me on it.
Specifically asking you whether you planted evidence.
Yeah, not one question.
Boston has a history of police.
Not one question. That's because you don't ask a cop point blank if you planted evidence. You're going to deny it, you dumbass. We all know it. The reason Alan Jackson didn't ask Proctor directly is because he didn't know who actually did it. We still don't know exactly who was it. We know that former Trooper Proctor, you actually have doctored the evidence logs, you doctored your report, you doctored the evidence logs, you failed to take proper photos of the scene. That was all intentionally done by you, so we know your culpability. We just don't know exactly who was it, the 1 or 2 or 3 officers that, you know, went across the lawn and scattered the pieces. Whoop-de-doo. We don't care. We know it was one of you. We don't need to know, like, exactly who it was. Your guilt is unmatched, no matter how you spin it, buddy.
Law enforcement corruption.
Yeah, that I agree with. Not in this case. Didn't happen here.
So why would it be
He agrees that Boston is corrupt, but not in this case. Not in this case. Yeah, other cases, Birchmore, Walsh, yeah, but corrupt. But in this case, innocent. Halo. Have you or someone you love been injured as a result of someone else's negligence? Or worse, lost a loved one because of it? I am attorney Larry Forman, and myself and my team of trial lawyers are ready to help you to get the absolute maximum compensation permissible under the law. We know the system. We understand how to win. Anywhere in the United States, 24 hours a day. 1-844-774-HURT. Call us. We can help, please.
Reasonable for people to think, well, it's happened elsewhere and recently in Boston. Why couldn't it happen in Canton?
They believe that the state police, multiple units within the state police, the Canton Police Department, about a dozen civilians are all in this conspiracy to frame
They are
a woman we don't know.
You totally were.
I love how both Glare and I at the same time. You are.
2.5, 3
Totally
years.
were.
Not one person
That's
said, wait,
good.
I'm not going down for this. Here's what really happened.
You saw the links to which some
My knees and laying on my lawn, like crying. I couldn't even
And
talk.
these
And I just remember my mother being like, what? And I kind of gathered myself, and I'm like, they relieved me of duty.
What was it like handing over your badge, your gun, your cruiser?
What really got me was my union rep. He had to come over to my house and pick up all my uniforms. And
Crimea River?
the one time I broke down was putting my Class A uniform.
Oh, come on. No, he's gonna cry?
You know, you go through a 6-month academy, and you're very proud to put that uniform on. Yeah, that was tough.
State Police Trial Board dishonorably discharges Michael Proctor on 2 charges, including unsatisfactory performance related to state police conduct standards.
I don't know any trooper that's been punished for personal text messages on their personal phone, let alone fired.
He's appealing the trial board's decision. A supervisor on Aaron Reed that you would say things like, hopefully she kills herself, or calling her the C word.
Those feelings developed as the case went on.
That's a lie. That is a flat lie, and you know it. That did not develop as the case progressed. That was your initial impression about Karen and her lawyer, David. I hate him. I hate him so much. Talking about David Yannetti, her lawyer. This is before Alan Jackson came on. You know why he hates David Yannetti so much? Because David Yannetti is a really good lawyer who's very good at exposing corrupt cops. And you were worried that you were going to get exposed. Well, guess what, buddy? It happened.
I mean, can you see how people might think, he was
I-
caught in this instance
Yeah.
speaking about a suspect in this way. Maybe it's happened in other cases as well.
I 100% understand why people would think that. But when you have, you know, a fellow police officer around my age, 2 kids of his own, it generates an emotion. And I express those emotions in a negative way, which I shouldn't have. I shouldn't even, you know, been texting my friends anything.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. You did, buddy. You did. And it's not, you know, if this was just the one thing, I'm sure we could be like, look, you're an idiot. You're an a-hole. Okay, we'll move past it. But this was like one of 100 things that you did. We can't look at it in a vacuum. No excuse can rescue you now.
They are what they are. They don't define me as a person.
They are what they are. There you go. That's the real answer. They are what they are. It is what it is. Who cares? Moving on, right?
Is there any part of the actual investigation that you would do over?
That's a great question.
Because it's blowing up into this
I would have smashed
crazy,
smaller
crazy,
pieces of taillight.
so-called conspiracy. Maybe I could have avoided it by looking at other people's cars just to say we did it. There's some witnesses maybe we could have interviewed a little sooner.
Look at other cars? I think he was going to say look at houses, but he had to stop himself because then he would be admitting that he failed in his investigation. It's his subconscious trying to speak the truth, and he's constantly interrupting it. That's why he speaks in such disjointed, broken sentences, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. Why would you search other cars? What does that even mean? Interviewed witnesses a little bit sooner? Yeah, also another great, brilliant idea, bud.
Overall, myself and every detective in that office worked this case like we always do. So I wouldn't change anything.
We work the case like we always do, so you always work in a corrupt fashion. Good riddance, buddy. Good riddance. And he looks so puffy. I think he has been lacking in exercise severely. He has been probably very depressed. He looks extremely depressed, and rightfully so, because he tried to convict an innocent woman, and he couldn't even handle coming back to the witness stand a second time after being dishonorably fired from the Massachusetts State Police. Let's move on to the next interview. This one is going to be the Alberts and the McCabe's. You guys ready? Nightline, same guy. I wonder why. Have you noticed, like, all their interviews, by the way, in the past, in the future, every single one is like with the same person. It's like they paid them off. They didn't get paid for these interviews. I think they actually paid to get interviewed. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been waiting to do this one for a while, and I know you guys have been asking me, so here it is.
The criminal justice system has let us down at every turn, and yesterday was the final letdown.
The justice system has let us down at every turn, and yesterday was the final letdown. I'm guessing he's referring to the not guilty verdict.
And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard.
There's nobody left to stand up for you because you're a criminal.
You're a witness in a case because no one protects you.
Well, when you're a liar, you don't need protection if you're telling the truth. Only when you're lying do you need protection. So make it make sense.
It's very, very sad.
For the
No,
first
it's not.
time, some of the key players in the Karen Reed trial sitting down for an exclusive interview.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is
The reason we all stayed quiet is because we're just witnesses. A statement that sounds like a statement but means nothing.
a thing that we had nothing.
And it's disgusting how they put friend of John O'Keefe at the bottom. That is so abhorrent. I swear, their media circus is just, oh, I can't. Oh, makes me cringe.
To do it, we did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Reed!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Reed, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Reed's favorite color, cheering as the verdict came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party. It looked like some.
People turn this thing into a tailgate party because you did that, Brian. You, with your corruption and your deception, your lies, your manipulation, your twisting of reality and the twisting of the truth, as well as your manipulations and machinations in orchestrating this whole thing, your failure to come outside, which you will address in a moment. All of that has led to this. This is what happens. The people are angry. You've angered the people. That's why they turned it into a tailgate party, as you call it.
Days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts. This is a guy that was murdered.
Yeah, and you murdered him.
It's atrocious for that family.
While the prosecutors blamed Reed for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night. Ever since, their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
Shout out to Turtle Boy for literally bringing all of this to all of our attention.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people.
Because you're not.
We're almost like caricatures. We're
Caricatures? Caricatures.
we're pawns.
Have each of you been
You are
called
pawns.
murderers?
Well, pawns and then some, actually.
Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily basis.
Yeah, and right now, too.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
No, that's not true. That is not true. We don't think that, Matthew, you have the ability to throw a punch, let alone kill a man. Jennifer McCabe is too scrawny. She would have, like, all her bones broken. Brian Albert is a stocky guy. He could easily do it. Along with Brian Higgins, the two of them. Colin Albert maybe throwing a few punches here and there because he wants to participate because he's a little shit. Sure, yeah.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Reed captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now?
Our lives just changed forever. Famous last words. Are you serious? You're going to play the victim card now. You're going to play the victim card. Okay, let's hear it.
Now, after the verdict.
We took what we thought was the high road. Right. Let the court do its job.
The corrupt judge that we paid off. Got it.
After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering.
Speaking of blizzards, I've talked about this before and I just want to mention it again. This is very important. Remember Sandra Birchmore? On the night that she unalived herself, and we saw Officer Matthew Farwell with Staunton PD left minutes after she was killed. That night, there was also a blizzard. How coincidental. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. These people, the McAlberts and family, and when I say family, I mean cop family, they have a modus operandi. They have a mode of operation. They wait for blizzards. Blizzards are a good time to strike. Why? Because the roads are jammed. If your Vic, meaning victim, if your Vic is still alive and breathing, the chances of 911 getting there in time to save them dwindle down to 0. You see what I mean? So they clearly have a specific way in which they operate. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing continues to evolve and how many more victims are there going to be. I swear, for those of you who have seen the movie Serpico, it's very possible that John O'Keefe was Al Pacino's character, Serpico, in real life. Maybe he knew something and he was going to go to the higher-ups and they had to silence him very quickly. That theory is still out there.
An invitation had been extended to Reed and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe
Not the home, the garage or the basement.
Found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts' home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never, no.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never. Never.
These are people in your own community
Liars.
who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people. You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments.
Which you have.
Multiple civilians.
You have.
The medical examiner.
You have.
Firemen.
Yep.
EMTs.
All in your pocket.
You name it.
All
That's
in
how
your pocket.
preposterous
No,
and silly this is.
very real.
And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
It's very hard to imagine, like, oh my God, this conspiracy. But if you've been following this case like me for the past 2 years, it's not a conspiracy at all. These are just like people who are supporting one another. They're either cops or friends of cops. Thin blue line extends very deep, and the thin red line as well. They're all working together. This is not that complicated.
It says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset and...
Ask about the dog.
I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn.
Wait, why would John be in the front of your house? You invited him over. Did you forget that part? Hold on a second. There's another giveaway. I don't know if anybody caught this one. He was surprised that John was on the front lawn. You invited him. Wouldn't you be more surprised like, hey, where's John? I thought we invited him. Why didn't John come? You didn't mention any of that in this interview. That's interesting.
You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer.
So what? Who cares what kind of police? Oh, because I don't have jurisdiction. I'm not going to go outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I go outside? I don't have jurisdiction. There's a dead body or a dying body. Well, yeah, but I don't have jurisdiction. Why would I go outside? Let him die. You know, like, who cares? It's not my problem. It's not my job. Not my jurisdiction. That's your answer. That's your answer. That's your answer. All right?
I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already
Wait, whoa. Hold on. What did you just say? By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house? The police never went inside. We all know that. What are you talking about? Was that an accidental Freudian slip? The police were already in my house. Your house was never searched, sir. Oops.
There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape?
Why not put some clothes on and then, yes, start running yellow tape around it and helping out? Or at least coming out and saying, hey, this is my house. Can I help you, gentlemen, in any way, shape, or form? Like, even if you're not going to be performing your duties, fine, whatever. It's so snaky and heartless and illogical. His response makes absolutely no sense. He's got these really cold eyes, by the way, that I've noticed. Really, really cold eyes. Like this is a man who has seen death, who has caused death. This is a man who has made others suffer. He reminds me very much of Heisenberg in Breaking Bad. You know, when in his final transformation, the only thing he's missing is the hat. He's got the beard, he's got the look, he's got the sunken eyes, he's got the ice-cold look in his eyes. He's just missing the hat. Like, seriously, somebody should juxtapose Heisenberg's hat on him, and it's carbon copy.
Around the fire hydrant?
Over the course of the night, Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
I would
Not
never.
to try to kill him, but try to
Tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV. To hit John's body with my car. No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
No, he's dead. Oh, he's dead. Oh, no. Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the cold.
How long to die in the cold has literally been thematic throughout this entire trial, folks. It has been a theme. It has been the smoking gun, if you will. Jennifer McCabe has bent over backwards to try and disprove and prove when did the search actually happen and whatever. The search happened at 2:27 a.m. 2:27. Now listen to how this interviewer is given a script and butchers the times intentionally in favor of the McAlberts and specifically Jennifer McCabe. Listen closely.
The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long?
Was it at 6 a.m. or 6:27 a.m.? That is not correct. The question should have been phrased, did it happen at 6 a.m. or 2:27 a.m.? See, you as the listener now who knows nothing about the trial now only thinks, oh, it happened after after everything, after the body was discovered, after. But was it at 6 or 6:27? If it was at 6 or 6:27, if those were the two times, there would be no discussion. It would just be irrelevant. There's no reason to be even asking that question, you doofus. It's at 2:27 or 6 a.m. And the answer is it happened at 2:27 because Jennifer McCabe was trying to figure out how long would it take John to die before they can dump his lifeless and drained of blood body on their front lawn.
Long to die in the cold. What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20.
She asked me to do it. She who? Carrie Roberts? The ghost of Christmas past? Karen Reed? No, you searched for it yourself because you were trying to make sure that because you guys don't understand physics and anatomy, you had to figure out how long would it take a man to die.
Whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
No,
the
of
group
course not.
also hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Albert's dog.
And by the way,
Chloe,
why did they cut off her answer? She had more to say.
who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Because it
Those
was.
wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack.
Yes.
Those marks
Thank you,
are
doctor.
from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted
What?
to take DNA,
The state shared with who? The defense? About the whereabouts of Chloe? That's a lie. Because if that was the case, they would have brought evidence from the dog in. You are a liar, sir, Matthew.
evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched it.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind them, they say they're still faced with threats against them, but hope to continue calling this community their home.
That's very unfortunate. They should disappear and go live on some island somewhere because they don't deserve the freedom that they are enjoying right now, and hopefully not for long. I'm telling you, there's going to be something. Somebody's going to flip somewhere. I'm looking at you. It's just so disturbing. Oh man, these videos are going to age like milk, you guys. These videos are going to age like milk. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things continue to evolve. I wanted to thank you all for watching. I'm going to do another video tomorrow reacting to all 4 juror interviews, so be on the lookout for that. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.